You have no right to live here." That's what Karen shouted at me. Right there in the crisp mountain air, her voice slicing through the pines like a siren. Her face, twisted up with pure hatred, just standing on my land like she owned it, hollering about HOA violations. I never been so angry and so weirdly amused in my life. I mean, really? I bought these 5 acres just to get away from HOAs forever, paid a premium for unincorporated land, so nobody could tell me what color to paint my door. And here was Karen, waving a stack of official papers, saying I owed thousands to an HOA I'd never even joined. My fist curled up. I felt that burn of injustice right down to my boots. You ever get that feeling like your blood's too hot to stay in your veins? Comment below where you're watching from, because let me tell you, my nightmare was only getting started. If you want to understand how I got here, picture this. 3 years back, I'm sitting across from my divorce attorney, Rebecca Davis, in her shoebox-sized law office. She's got 2 piles of paper, one neat and tidy, all about splitting up my marriage, the other thick as a phone book, stamped Maplewood Heights HOA violations. She paused on a page signed by Abigail Williams, HOA president, her name in block letters. Rebecca ran her finger along that signature like it was some holy writ, but to me, it was just a warning siren. Honestly, what haunted me most from that whole mess wasn't my wife Amanda saying she wanted out, or even Rebecca's calm explanations. It was the sound of her damn fax machine, spitting out citation after citation. The noise was relentless, like the heartbeat of bureaucracy. I swear, even now, my chest tightens just thinking about it. Thing is, Amanda and I, we were the poster couple for Maplewood Heights. Beige siding, straight hedges, mailbox exactly 18 inches from the curb. The HOA handbook was 237 pages long, single-spaced, telling you how tall your grass could be, what color your front door should be, whether your damn wind chimes were approved. Amanda tried to make it work, God bless her. She invited Abigail Williams in for coffee the first time she showed up, clipboard in hand, that fake smile plastered on her face. Abigail walked through our house like a general on inspection, pointing out throw pillows that weren't the right shade, wind chimes that weren't on the list. When she left, she dropped off a stack of violations thick enough to make an IRS agent blush. After that, every week it was something. The fence, the roses, the porch light. Fines stacked up like interest on a payday loan. Abigail always found one more thing. Nobody else could see it, but she could. She'd show up with her clipboard at 6 in the morning, taking pictures of our trash cans, counting rocks in the flower bed. Surveillance wasn't a job for her. It was an art. The breaking point? October, Saturday morning. I'm installing a motion light over the garage. There've been break-ins in the neighborhood, right? Next thing I know, Abigail appears like she was conjured, scribbling away on her clipboard. When I finish, she hands me a pre-written violation. Unauthorized electrical modifications. Remove the light in 72 hours or pay a $500 fine. I didn't scream, didn't throw anything. I just broke inside, quiet like something finally snapped. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about rules or safety. It was about control. And the system? It wasn't built for people like me to win. It was built to grind you down, citation by citation, until you just gave up. Only person who seemed to get it was Ben Bradley, 3 houses down. He sat on the HOA board, but he was decent, real estate attorney, moved here for the same reasons we did. He'd stop by, lower his voice, tell me half the board wanted Abigail gone, but she had the bylaws memorized like the Bible. Ben promised he'd try to rein her in, but the more he tried, the worse things got. The citations came faster, more expensive, more creative. Amanda painted the door Williamsburg blue. Looked just like 3 other doors on our street, but Abigail cited us for non-conforming color variants. So we had to repaint with a Benjamin Moore shade that cost twice as much. We planted tulips. She measured the spacing, too close together, violation. Amanda left 2 weeks after that garage light incident. She told me she still loved me, but she couldn't live in a place where every day was a new anxiety attack over some arbitrary rule. She started checking the mailbox like people waiting for bad test results. The place that was supposed to be home, our sanctuary, had become poison. Rebecca, my attorney, listened to my story, all practiced sympathy. When I finished, she said, "Alex, you need land in the mountains. Unincorporated. No HOA, no committees, just you and the trees." And God, that idea was like breathing fresh air after months underwater. Rebecca even knew a spot, 5 acres on Mountain Ridge, just outside city limits, safely out of HOA reach. "Unincorporated land is your friend," she said, sliding me a map. The property was perfect, on the market 8 months, priced fairly, no buyers because it didn't have suburban amenities. Within a month, I bought it. I spent a year building my cabin, my home, my office, my sanctuary. For 3 years, it was heaven. I worked from my deck, overlooking the valley, painted my cabin bright red, just because I could, planted wildflowers everywhere. No citations, no surprise inspections, no Abigail. Until Karen Collins showed up. She stomped onto my land, shouting about violations, saying I owed the HOA thousands. But Abigail had died in a car accident 2 years ago. Yet the committee paperwork Karen handed me had Abigail's signature. I went inside, dug up my old survey. My property was clearly outside any HOA. So why did Karen act like she had authority? Why did her signature look just like Abigail's? Naturally, I Googled everything. Abigail Williams. Yeah, dead 2 years, accident, funeral attended by board members. But the new HOA Extension Committee was registered at Abigail's old address. Weird, right? 2 days later, Karen's back at my door, all smiles, carrying a folder thick with documents. Introduces herself as the new HOA president. She's moved here after a rough divorce, needs a fresh start, totally understands my love of privacy. She pitches the new HOA as reformed, not about control anymore. She says, just voluntary cooperation. Snow plowing, trash pickup, utility easement maintenance, all voluntary, modest monthly fees, cancel anytime. Sounds reasonable. I sign, mostly because Karen's story resonates. 2 people burned by life, looking for peace. If the new HOA is really different, maybe this works, right? But within 2 weeks, Karen's calling me. Can I park my truck behind the cabin, not in the circular drive? Not a violation, just a neighborly request. Then it's, could I use lower wattage bulbs outside so neighbors would stargaze? Maybe tidy up my wildflower garden, add some path stones? Every suggestion is just to help the community, always voluntary, but each one nudges my property closer to Maplewood standards. 3 months in, surveyors show up, move my property markers inward by 10 feet. Suddenly my deck and part of my garden are outside my property. County clerk tells me boundary disputes are common, recommends a formal survey for $1,500. That evening, I noticed the new markers form a perfect geometric border, just like an HOA covenant would require. In the fine print of Karen's voluntary agreement, there's a clause. I agree to boundary verification for utility maintenance. The next day, I drive past Abigail's old house. Karen's blue sedan is parked in the driveway. She's living there. The house that was supposed to be sold just occupied. The pieces start fitting together. Karen is living in Abigail's house, pushing voluntary agreements that let her redefine property lines, setting up for an annexation. The expansion meeting invite arrives, all gold-embossed legal paper, promising enhanced community services and property value optimization. But it's a land grab in corporate language, expanding HOA services by majority board vote, opt out only if you file a formal objection within 30 days. Q&A reveals the real plan. Services come with adjustments for non-compliance, standards set by the board. I watch the other landowners. Most are tempted by the cost savings. But I know a trap when I see one. 2 weeks later, code enforcement shows up, unannounced, citing violations I've never heard of, septic, electrical, water. All at once, all with fees. I call Ben for help. He says the HOA can't force annexation, but can make your life hell until you give up. He offers to draft a property independence declaration with binding arbitration, filed with the county. His fee is reasonable, even waives it as a neighbor. But when I read the contract, I see it routes all disputes through his own mediation company, just established 6 months ago. And as soon as I file, I get hit with a 300% tax reassessment. My land is now an enhanced municipal service zone, all triggered by Karen's expansion, even though I never agreed to participate. The numbers are crushing. The voluntary agreement I signed buried the clause that let them reclassify my land. And the mediation company? Registered to Ben. My friend. I confront Ben. He admits the setup, even laughs. It's not personal, Alex. It's just business. You were always a client, never a friend. Says Karen's plan is simple. Make independence so expensive you'll beg to join the HOA. I ask how many people he's trapped this way. All of them, he shrugs. Desperate, I call Rebecca, my old attorney. She says arbitration clauses can be challenged for bias, especially when the mediation company is run by the same guy setting up the legal framework. We need evidence, though, so I file a formal dispute. The arbitrator is independent, but a quick search shows she was Ben's law partner and now works for HOAs. The system's rigged. One night, while researching, I discover a loophole in federal environmental law. Any change in service zones that affects property rights needs a full community impact study. Karen's expansion never did one. I challenged the tax assessment at the county courthouse. The county can't defend their process. The federal official suspends a service zone, overturns the tax hike, and awards me $25,000 in damages. I finally feel a sliver of hope. Local press picks up the story. David beats Goliath. For 6 days, I'm a hero. Then the deepfake video drops. Shows me screaming threats at Karen, who's terrified for her safety. It's all fake, but the internet eats it up. Karen posts a tearful response, paints herself as a victim. My clients disappear, my business tanks, and suddenly, I'm the villain in every headline. FBI shows up on my porch, cyber harassment charges. Only thing that saves me is my obsessive documentation, time-stamped logs, GPS data, everything. Eventually, the feds realize the evidence is manufactured, uploaded from Ben's mediation company IP. But the damage is done. Reputation shattered, work gone, neighbors treat me like a criminal. Months pass. Anxiety, sleepless nights, weight loss. I start thinking about selling the cabin just to escape. Then, by accident, I find my old security recorder, forgotten but still recording. And it caught Karen, on my porch, taking a call, her tone icy. Phase 3 is complete. Target isolated, financially vulnerable. Media campaign exceeded expectations. Proceed with asset seizure when he defaults on taxes. And then, the Abigail Williams identity worked perfectly for Phase 1. My hand shook. Karen was Abigail. She faked her death, forged documents, built a criminal enterprise to destroy property owners and seize their land. Armed with the audio, I dive into research. Voice analysis confirms Karen and Abigail are the same person. Digital forensics connect her IPs. Financial records trace back to Abigail's life insurance payout. I turn everything over to the FBI. The investigation explodes. Abigail had run the same scam in Colorado, California, was planning Oregon and Washington. Ben was in on it. Feds raid the house. Find files on 47 targets, psychological profiles, a playbook for harassment. Ben folds, cuts a deal, exposes the whole scheme. Insurance fraud, identity theft, bribed officials, $2 million in profits. I sue the HOA and win. $180,000 lump sum, plus $2,000 a month for 10 years as a boundary consultant. My reputation recovers, clients return, and I turn my ordeal into a consulting business, helping other property owners fight HOA overreach. The cabin? Painted blue now, wildflowers everywhere, just because I can. I get mail from the HOA every month, a check, a note acknowledging my rights. Some folks ask if I regret it, if I'm still angry about losing so much. And yeah, it stings sometimes. But I'm also grateful. I learned how to fight, how to win, how to turn pain into something powerful. These days, if an HOA tries to mess with me, I just send them an invoice. And every month, They pay to remember why targeting the wrong person can be very, very expensive. So tell me, do you think HOA power can ever be justified? Have you ever been targeted by one of these neighborhood tyrants? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. And if you ever feel outnumbered, remember, you're never alone in this fight. 18.